My name is Adrian Williams. I am a Peloton instructor and a BMW ambassador, and my handle is Adrian Williams NYC. So I've been into cars for a minute. When I was a kid, growing up in New York City, my grandmother was from North Carolina, and so we'd drive down in a minivan or a trailer or something like that, and we would go to North Carolina and spend time with some of my uncles. And one of my uncles, my Uncle Gene, God rest his soul, he had a junkyard on a road that we all had houses on. And so sometimes those cars, he forgot to take the keys out of. And so as kids, we would borrow, whatever you want to say, those cars. But that's kind of where I learned how to drive. And that's how I kind of fell in love with cars. I'd go and hang out with him. He'd be in the junkyard. He'd be working on someone's cars. He'd be screaming at us to go outside and leave him alone. But you know, the motor oil and just his greasy hands and seeing him working on cars, that's kind of what got me into it. What was my first car? A 1990 Volkswagen Corrado. The sexy version of the Golf is what they say. It was a G60, so it had the 1.8 supercharged engine. It was a built motor with 250 screaming horsepower. That car, we called it the fire truck because, you know, it had a Leichlum supercharger on it. So when you drive those, it's like, in New York City, amazing, because what do? You take your hands off the wheel and you just let the car move and everyone runs out of the way. That car was like a golf cart. I loved it so much. No AC, but just stuck to the road. It was amazing. My first BMW. You're looking at her. This was my first BMW. So I grew up in New York City, right? Like Bronx kid. And the interesting thing about growing up in New York City and that culture, no one's really into cars, right? Like me and my brother were into cars, but none of our friends were really into that scene. And I think what made that special is my obsession was none of my friends. They'd be like, why are you pausing when that Golf or this VR6 or this V8 is driving by? And so I remember selling my car and then thinking, I'm never gonna own a BMW. Like, I don't need one. I take the train everywhere or I run. Typical of a Peloton instructor, I guess you could say. But no, right before COVID hit, I was like, you know what? I actually think I do want an M3. And so I started looking at old ones, and I was thinking about getting an E36 and then putting an S54 in it. And then I was like, what's the new tech like? So I started doing a lot of deep diving on the G80, and then when they started talking about the S58 motor, I was like, I think that's going to be one of the, encompass one of the most powerful M3s that BMW will ever make. And I think this might be the last one before we get batteries in the car. So I was like, I'm gonna pull the trigger, and I got it. You know, so my uncle worked on a 328, and I remember just European cars, right? Like in the 90s, I'm 84 baby, so in the 90s, I think European cars were just really sexy, sleek. They had great body lines, they sounded really good, and that car was my first exposure to German engineering. And I think as soon as I went for a drive and I could feel the difference between what an American car drove like and a BMW drove like, that immediately got me hooked. And then E36, that M era was like my coming of age, you could almost say. And so you would see randomly sometimes, you'd see a blue, a purple, a yellow, and these cars stuck out to me because of the colors, but also the way they sounded, right? Like that S50 is just, although not powerful, beautiful sounding motor. And just there's nothing that drives like them. And I think when you talk to people who are obsessed with BMW, it's the same thing. There's nothing that drives like a BMW, you always hear. And for me, that's true. And so when I was thinking about what my first BMW would be, there was a number of options. And I picked newer tech, I think, because I wanted to see how far M had come in terms of engineering. And I was not disappointed with this car. Have I started going backwards? I have. And so I've got an E46, which is getting worked on right now. We'll talk about that later, a little supercharger and clutch work and all the bells and whistles. But I think I've started working my way backwards because I do want more mechanical. But I just love M's all around. So when I started really doing the deep dive on what the BMW that I was going to get was going to be, I was mostly on Reddit threads doing a lot of research because I intended to import something, because the first idea was to get a F80, do an M3 swap on a wagon and put the S55 in that car. Started doing a bunch of research and I was like, this is going to be quite the project. I want the car right now. You know what I mean? And so when I started looking and doing research on the G80, there was none. I didn't see the G80 before I actually bought it, which sounds crazy, right? Buying a car unseen. You've never driven it, but it was COVID. And so no one had stock of these cars, which sucked. And so I kind of took a risk trying to find this car and pulled the trigger on one. But the first car I actually got was Dravid Gray. And so I put in an order. God, was this 2021-ish? Come to find out, they never actually ordered my Dravid Gray. And so they tried to say like, hey, we got this one, we have this one, we have this white one, we have this one. But they never told me that they didn't order it, and I kind of just wanted to hear that. I just wanted to hear an apology, like, hey, we had actually never pushed it through, we're sorry. And so what I ended up doing was going down to Virginia, finding this car, which was originally black, sapphire black, and saw it that day, took it for a drive, and then pulled the trigger, bought the car. It's obviously not black now, so a lot has changed. So the first time I actually got to see this car in person, you just like, oh, it's 10 times better than I expected it to be. So there was just like this excitement and just joy because I knew I was going to get to drive this car actually. And so like buying a car unseen and not being able to drive it was, strange, but it worked. And so like when I went to the dealership and was able to get into this car and they took me for this test drive, I was just like blown away, right? This is an X-Drive car, it's automatic. Don't kill me in the comments, okay? I still drive a manual car. But when I drove this car, I was just like, holy hell, power, space, handling, the infotainment system, like it's beautiful inside. I really think they changed. This was an upgrade from the F80 interior, and I love the F80. But I really do think with the G80, they really brought it up a level. And so when I remember getting back to the dealership and he was like, well, what'd you think? And I was like, well, what the fuck do you think? I was like, I want this car right now. He was like, okay. He was like, so we got the paperwork in order and I drove it back, right? I drive everywhere. People are gonna think I'm crazy. I drove this car from New York, but like this is what the car is made for, right? This is not gonna sit in a garage and just collect no miles. I wanna be the dude who's like, I have 350,000 miles on my car. I wanna be that dude. But I drove it back to New York and I just couldn't stop smiling. And I felt like a psychopath because driving and smiling, not listening to music, not talking to anybody, I think you're a little bit crazy. But here I am, not driving like this, but you get what I'm saying. Driving back to New York, and I was just pumped because I knew I'd missed the car community, right? Like for a very long time, and it's until you're in it, you don't really understand like why 5 friends with 5 cars go for a drive. Why don't you guys drive together? But there's something about like being connected and on the road, and I knew I was getting back into that when I got this car. And so I was just pumped to kind of, again, be a part of this community, right? That's why I'm here. That's why actually we met. Yeah, and it was like excitement for the future and what I knew this M car would bring me into. God, what made me decide to modify this car? Everything. You get this car standard and it is great, but it is also made for someone who wants to drive fast, wants to drive safe, and maybe has a family and needs a grocery getter or something that can go away on the weekends. I do like things to feel like mine, and so the first thing when I got this car, I was like, okay, stance, suspension, spacers, right? That was the first couple of mods. So it was like the M Performance springs that I put on it first, and then 12 and 10 mil spacers. I didn't have the Michelin, so I couldn't do the 15 and 15, which people with the Michelins do. And then after that, you start listening to the car. I want more sound, and so I don't even want to tell you how many exhaust systems I've been through, but I've been through quite a few exhaust systems, right? And I've had MAD, I've had Valvetronic, I've had just a mid-pipe, I've had just the J-pipe from Super Sprint, downpipes, we've gone through the mill. Right now, as it sits, it's got no one's probably gonna know this company, Laptor. Does anyone know? Oh, we do, look at that! When I say that, they're like, what in the Alibaba did you just say? So it's a Japanese company that made this exhaust, and the cool thing about this exhaust is it's got quite a few resonators in it, right? We know the G80 can be loud and kind of raspy, and I've mixed and matched a lot of setups because I was trying to reduce rasp. How can I reduce rasp? How can I reduce rasp? Finally, with this exhaust, I think it's perfect. I won't change it. I think it gives almost the old school S54 sound with turbos on it. And so it's not really raspy, not too loud, but just loud enough. And it sounds amazing under hard throttle. Got it. Modifications on the car. Let's start with aesthetics. We took 2 colors and we mixed them, right? And so the color that you see now is Agave Laguna, I was told. No, but it's mostly Laguna with agave mixed into it. And so I wanted to create something that was really custom and one-of-one. So that's what we did. Front lip is Daler, a company out in Germany, which I really love because they have extreme sort of measures for how you can do any sort of aero part. So it actually has to reduce drag. So it's a really, really nice addition. Vorsteiner front grills, which with a little mesh in the back because New York, a lot of crap on the roads. We've got BC Forge wheels, 19 by 10.5 all around, square setup. Really aggressive tires. We've got 8009s, 285 squared. All the Downstar hardware also in the engine bay. Right now, as it sits, it's got Turner intakes, which will be changed soon. Turner strut bar. We've got a carbon slam panel. It's got LM hybrid turbos on it. It's got a Spec B cam. It's got port injection. I'm like, bleh. It's got downpipes on it from ARM, Laptor full exhaust, K4s, KW V4 suspension, and no spacers. It's got slotted rotors, which ease of change and use. But the interior is where it starts to get spicy and special. The interior, if you can see it, is custom. So shout out to Eric who did the interior. We we wrapped it in a different color leather. So what you're seeing there is like a chestnut color. But in the front seats, we've got Recaro podiums, which are super simple, carbon backs, fixed bucket, and they're easy to change because they're just inserts. So you basically remove the pad, and you can change the leather or the pad to anything that you want. And I think that's really what kind of separates this car. Is like you come over to it. I remember when we were doing the exterior, they were like, "You're going to keep the interior black," and I was like, "No, we should change the interior." So we changed the interior, and then I was like, rip the tints off because I think people need to see the interior. And I think that's really what makes this car what it is. It's the combination of the exterior with the interior, and then where there's silver in the car, all those details are now a gold that you see right there. So it's like this matte gold finish in the trim that extends into the engine bay. And I think it really just creates like this visual experience that you're seeing, right? Like here's this blue car, but not too bright, with kind of this trim around it with this crazy interior. And I just think it separates everything. But as you get to the rear of the car, you can't forget that ass. We've got an Alpha N trunk, which I think gives it like this really smooth visual appeal, especially when you're looking at the car from the side. But it also looks OEM, right? Like it looks like this is how the car would have come stock. And that for me was what I was trying to create, something that looks really pristine and OEM. But then on the sides, you've got your side skirts from RCS. I always get this, RSC actually. And what we did was we painted just a little bit further down on the side skirt to create like a little bit more width. And so normally it's fully carbon, but we brought the color down just a bit so you can get, it almost looks like an extender. And then in the back we have the diffuser from them also, which adds this very like aggressive visual appeal to the but it also works, right? Like it actually gets rid of any drag that you're gonna get from wind coming at you. So I mean, as it sits now, God, I love this car. I remember when I got it back, I literally was like, my girlfriend was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm gonna sleep in it tonight, you know? I've missed it. So I was like, she's like, you're crazy, get out of the car. But every time I get into this car, it's the experience, right? Like, it's rare that I'm listening to music a lot of times just because I really do enjoy the sounds and just the rawness of it. And I think how I built this car and how I've put it together really serves me, right? I think when we start to build cars, a lot of times we build them for other people versus ourselves. And I think that sometimes gets chaotic. It's for me, right? Like I wanted it to handle well. I wanted it to stop hard. I wanted it to be fast when I wanted it to. On pump, it does 700 horsepower. On little E, it does 920 to the wheel, so just over 1,000 horsepower. But this car behaves, you know? I drove it from New York City, not a hiccup, nothing. And that really speaks to not only the engineering of this car, but like the people who've worked on this car who I was talking about before. Shout out to AJ, Sean, Keith, Tommy at Auto Couture, all these people who've put this car together and made it what it is. But with all that power, you can't also not have a good transmission. So it's running a stage 2 transmission. And so it handles power really, really well. And just for ease for my mind, I did rods, no pistons. I never planned on doing 1,200 horsepower. And these cars are totally fine as long as you do the rods. And I don't think I'll take the power number up anymore, but someone's always like tapping you to do so. But you drive a car that's 1,000 horsepower, you really are not enjoying it unless you're doing highway pulls. And I like to go upstate, back roads. 700 horsepower is plenty for this car. So yeah, the day I had my accident, I think this is, which is why the car is a different color, right? And so the day I had my accident, I was driving back in traffic, actually, which I think was the saving grace. And so if you know the Cross Bronx, you know the Cross Bronx. It's a crazy highway, especially if you're coming there at night. A lot of tractor trailers, a lot of trucks. Probably going about 10, 20 miles an hour. And All of a sudden, I'm in the right lane. This truck just starts moving into my lane. I'm honking the horn, and this is all I hear. That's the sound that it makes. And it's the most crazy noise because when a truck that size hits you, what's the scary part is it pulls you into the truck. And so I'm in the car with my girlfriend and my dog, and I was like, oh, if I don't pull out of this, like the truck pulling me into it, we might get run over. So anyways, he hears it, starts going to the left. We pull over on the side of the road, go to the right. I put on my hazards. He puts on his hazards. I'm like, okay, he's going to pull over. So he starts to pull over. And then I hop out of the car with my phone because I'm a crazy New Yorker and you're like always on 150 miles an hour. And I start recording his license plate just in case. And so record his license plate, go back to the car. As soon as he gets far enough away, he turns and just drives off. And I was like, motherfucker. So we call 911 probably about, God, it was maybe 10:30, 10:40-ish. Called 911 probably about, I don't know, 7 to 10 times. No one comes. Finally, fire trucks come. They help us get off the highway. And I sat in my car. I sent my girlfriend home because it's like we're in a crazy area. I was like, go home with the dog. This feels unsafe. And I sat there till about 1:40. And people are driving by. I'm trying to flag cops down. Nobody stops for me. So finally, call a tow truck, take the car to J&B, which is my shop that I use for everything. Leave it there, come back the next day, and I'm like distraught because I was like, okay, this car's done, right? I'll have to get a new one. And it wasn't that I, it's insurance. I got hit. You can get a new car as long as you're healthy. That's really the important thing. But it was because I wanted to keep this car forever. That's why it was like bothering me so much, and I thought I was gonna have to get rid of it. And so Mikey and Joey, they were like, okay, we're gonna take a look, assess everything, and then let's make a plan. We either are gonna have to total it out or we'll be able to fix it. Once we get there, you'll be able to make a decision. So they do a complete check of everything, and they're like, listen, it's actually external mostly. There's nothing in terms of repair that we can't do to actually put it back. Do you want to put it back? And so I said, yes. And they're both my friends, right? And they were like, do you want to just put it back to normal? We can paint it black, rewrap it. And I was like, no, let's do something like a little bit crazy. And so he was like, what are you thinking? It's like, I love this color and I love this color. And this car was black and then wrapped in what looked like a agave green. And so I told him I like this blue and I like this green. He said, do you want to mix them? I said,
Can we do that?
And he's like, yeah, we can mix the colors. So we can create something that nobody has, that is literally just your own. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And then the wheels started turning and I was like, well, if we're gonna do the exterior, which he was like, yeah, I would change the interior, because if you're gonna have this beautiful color, black is totally fine, it's just not gonna pop. And I had the podiums in there already, they were just black cloth. And so I started looking at interiors and I was like, chestnut, that's super distinguished, sounds like a Carlton thing.
Chestnut, give me chestnut.
So I said, chestnut's gonna be the color, right? And we started looking at leather and I was like, yes, this one, let's pick this one. So they do this full repair. And this is the thing that I didn't know when you do repairs that changed my whole view of collision shops, doing the right repairs. It is super detailed. And if you don't do it the right way, then when someone hits you again, you become a sardine, right? And I've never been told that. I didn't know that. I thought you put these parts back together, you make sure the frame is intact. It's a lot more detailed than that. And so I learned a lot with this car during this experience that, had this not happened to me, that I wouldn't know. But once we started putting the car back together, we mixed some colors. I looked at the blue, we added a little bit more green, looked at the blue, we added a little bit more green. We did a spray out. They did a spray out. And then I was like, that's the color. And so they got to work, painted the car. The car came out of the booth, and I was just like, fuck, that's good. Literally, I walked out and I was like, holy shit, that's exactly what I wanted. So you look at the car, it's blue under certain lights, but then if you go out in the sun, you can actually see the green in it, and that's what I wanted. I love green. It's one of my favorite colors. I wanted to be able to see green in it. And so once the car was done, we sent the pads and all the leather to Eric, and he started putting together all the interior bits. And so when the interior was out, I was like, what about the engine bay? Because, you know, the saying goes, and while you're there. And so I was like, I'm gonna potentially do something that's like a little bit crazy. And he was like, gold? And I was like, yeah, let's do some gold. And so I was like, I wanted it to be matte, right? I didn't want it to be this bright thing that was kind of like an eyesore. I wanted it to be, so I have an XM also, and they have on the XMs gold trim, and that gold trim stuck out in my brain. And I was like, I want something that looks like that gold trim. And so what we did is we took all the trim in the interior, we made it golds, and then we also put that in the interior. So it just gives it, when you pop the hood, people are like, what in the hell is going on here? And it's just like a visual, it's like a visual masterpiece, right? I think it looks like art. And I also think it looks like everything was thought out when I look at this car. And I just couldn't be proud like I birthed this car. I couldn't be more happy with the way it turned out. Yeah, shout out to everybody who made something that I thought was like a pipe dream a reality for me. Future plans for the car. We are going to do some fenders for the car. So I don't want to get too crazy with modifications, especially when it comes to like the exterior, but I do think Alpha N does a lot of tasteful work, and so I will be adding Alpha N fenders to the car. And we are going to change up the intakes and the strut bar. These intakes are great, but they say bigger is better. And so I've been talking with someone that everyone knows on the other side of this screen about doing something a little bit different and really, really, really creating something that's standout. And I'm excited. You'll see it. It's going to be happening pretty soon. So just simple things. Intakes, fenders. Outside of that, maybe like you, I think I might need wheels with the same color face as the gold. So that might be coming down the pipeline. Yeah. What does it mean for me to be a part of the BMW community? Friendship, joy, I said this before. Community is really everything to me. It's a really important part of like what I do for work in my day-to-day. And there's something about a shared passion that I appreciate amongst friends or people that I actually don't know. And I think with the BMW community, it's just been nothing but love, really, you know? No matter what you drive, new, old, not clapped out, but there's an appreciation for just driving, right? And I was talking about this with my boy Tomo and Paul last night. I'm a person who really, I enjoy the driving aspect. I do love a park and chill, but I really enjoy just driving with a group of friends and being connected on the road. That almost feels like meditation for me. And so the car community does a lot of positive for my mental health. And maybe that's not something that's talked about a lot, but like it's this shared passion that really feeds me as a human being. And you know, there's a lot of times when I've been having just like a rough day or life feels crazy and I go for a drive either by myself or with a friend, and they automatically know you just want to go for a drive, and we do that and I instantly feel better. So as cool as it is for us to have these nice cars, I think it's so much deeper than that. I think without the car community, there would be something that like would be missing in me. And so I'm just appreciative that I get to have this experience. We get to do this, and I'm down here to enjoy one of the best car shows that there ever is, Bimmer Invasion. I think I'm a person who likes logistics because I'm a little bit crazy in that sense, and it's organization, right? Like, I think this is one of the best shows because of the organization, because of the events that happen while we're here. I think you're going to see some of the best builds possible. I know people months before Invasion are already prepping their cars because they're like, yo, dude, I gotta show my car. We gotta make sure things get ready. And I think there's this also like this air of this is the best thing ever, and this is the place to be to showcase your specific car or your specific build. And so I think people really bring 10 out of 10 when they're coming here. And that's nice to be on the member side, right? Like, because I get to appreciate all this visual when we're walking around the shows and you're shaking hands with people. You're meeting people that you've never seen before in person, right? Like, a lot of these people I only talk to on social media. We were that way. I only talk to you through social media, and then you meet them in person. So it's nice to just have that like breaking of bread with people who are in the industry, but also with Bimmer Invasion. I just think it's ultimately done almost the best out of any car show that I've been to. The people are going to be fucking great when you come here. Everyone's outgoing. Everyone's willing to help, especially because we're dealing with cars. Some people are breaking down on the drives here, and someone who's driving down is going to pull over and help that person in a BMW. It's the camaraderie. It's the actual show. It's seeing all the faces. It's seeing all the cars. It's meeting the vendors. And ultimately just having a great time with great people.
I work out for a living.
Who am I outside of cars? I think that's a great question because your identity can't be the thing always that you love. And so like I'm more than just a person who's in wellness and is a trainer, and I'm more than a person who just has a car. Who am I outside of that? I'm a person, I like doing what you're doing right now. Like a person who loves photography, videography. I like getting the chance to be in nature and by the ocean and spending time really in a more calm state, right? Like my life is so go, go, go all the time, I think with what I do for work and being an ambassador and what we do on social media, I'm constantly going 100 miles an hour. And so like in my chill time, I like to do that, chill, no phone, no human connection, because my whole job is about human connection, interacting. And I think for me, like one of the biggest things that I've discovered about myself is fucking being alone and in my own space is one of the most important things to me, which is why I drove down here by myself. I appreciate that time and I appreciate that disconnect. I think, outside of everything, I'm a person who wants to see everyone do well and be healthy and live a great life. I think we get one chance at it. And so I've had to tell myself this, and I think it's good for people to know, like you get one life, make it whatever you need it to be happy. And don't sweat this bullshit, because at the end of the day, if you do get another day, you can change it tomorrow. It took me a while to be where I am, right? Like this ability to, I was saying this on my drive down, I'm driving my dream car. And just like the reminder to tell myself that, even, I'm 42 years old now, the reminder of like, I'm in a space where I'm living out my actual dream, and to like appreciate that and take moments to kind of not always have to do the next thing, but appreciate where you are right now, so that it's even more impactful when you start to climb the ladder and you're doing something else or achieving bigger goals. Just trying to be present, trying to smile, and trying to drive, honestly. My name is Adrian Williams. My Instagram handle is Adrian Williams NYC, and this is the story of my G80 build.